Graff, and I'm doing my persuasive speech on the gun show loophole. As many of you know, there's been a lot of tragic events that have happened in America, such as Columbine and Virginia Tech. Those two events happened from unregistered guns, which they have been purchased at the gun show loophole. What a gun show is for many Americans, it's just a hobby that they can go to on the weekends and have some fun, do their collecting of their ammunition, guns, and knives. But for many, many people are taking advantage of the gun shows to buy guns where they don't have to do any kind of background check or show any kind of identification. There are two different types of sellers at these gun shows, one being a private registered seller. This is where they have to go through the government to do a background check on the person that's wanting to buy the gun. The next type of seller is a private seller, where they don't have to ask any questions, do a background check, or even ask the person to show their identification in order to purchase the gun. Unfortunately, there's 25 to 50% of these types of sellers at these gun shows, according to BaltimoreSun.com, which is scary that these many people have access to guns where they can just go and buy these types of guns and get them from the gun shows and not have to have any kind of questions asked. According to Boston Globe, there's a few examples of people that have gone to gun shows or even just taken advantage of the gun show loophole. One being Ali Balhelm, who had gone to many Michigan gun shows and purchased guns. He gave those guns to a terrorist organization, which obviously was going to use towards Americans to hurt them. And he was found guilty right before 9/11. The next is the two Columbine students who were in Colorado and murdered many of their classmates. They got their gun from a friend who purchased the gun from a gun show. She was quoted saying that she would have never bought the gun if she would have had the background check done. The next is also a terrorist organization. They had purchased over an amount of time 60,000 different kinds of guns. And we had found one of their journals saying that America had such easy access to firearms, which is scary knowing that terrorists can point America out, saying that we have easy access to guns so they could come over here and just hurt us with them. And the last is the Virginia Tech gunman. He actually did have a background check done when he was purchasing his firearm, but there was a glitch in the system saying they didn't find that he was mentally ill. So obviously if we ever were to close that gun show loophole, we also need to make sure that our system is up to date and has everything in order. I wanted to see just how easy it is for minors, criminals, and even the mentally ill to purchase firearms, so I did some research. And I found a study on 2020 showing a study that they did to see how easy it is to go in these gun shows and just purchase the guns. They gave a man $5,000 in 1 hour to go into a gun show to see how many guns he could buy. Before he was even into the door, he was approached by a man asking him if he wanted to buy a gun. So obviously to prove his point, he did buy it. And all they did was exchange the money and the gun, and that was it. He won't ever see him again, and there wasn't any questions asked. And the gun's not even registered in his name, so if he were to want to go out and harm someone, he could, and it wouldn't be pointed back to him, and he would be walking off free pretty much. In that hour, he ended up purchasing 10 guns. He said he could have purchased more, but he wanted to abide by the Virginia law, which is still scary that you can go to a gun show and purchase 10 firearms, because that's too many in my eyes. You only need one gun to hunt or to show off even. There were no background checks even done when he was buying any of these guns. The only thing that he was asked was to show an ID, and when he refused, they told him just to give him an extra $100, and so he did, and that was it. Which that's scary also, that he had a gut instinct to ask for identification, but then whenever he refused, he just let him have it anyways. There was a study that shows that there's only 1% of violence or murder done by guns that are sold from gun shows, which doesn't really make sense to me because you can't track down all those guns anyways that have been purchased in gun shows because they're not registered into their names. So I think there's probably a lot more than that. According to gunandknifeshow.com, there's over 50 gun shows a year in Indiana alone. So anybody has very easy access to go to one of these gun shows and just buy a gun, because there's almost pretty much one each week of the year. 18 states, however, do have some kind of law where they do require a background check or something, just maybe not on all types of guns, but at least on the semi-automatic guns, which that should be done in every single state anyways, because those guns are meant to hurt many people in a short amount of time. So if we could get the 32 other states to close this gun show loophole, that would be great. By no means am I saying that people shouldn't be allowed to buy guns. I think criminals are always going to have access to guns no matter what. They can either get it from the gun show loophole, or they can also steal it or borrow it from a friend. So I think innocent people should always have a right to protect themselves. But I still think that if we can do something about it by closing this gun show loophole, to making it maybe a little bit harder for them to get the guns. So if Congress could just pass the rest of the 32 states to just close this gun show loophole, then that would be great. It might start somewhere with cutting down on the violence, making it a little bit harder for these people to get guns. So if you could just write to your congressman or anything like that, just to tell them how you feel and how you think the gun show loophole should be ended. Thank you.